Hi, welcome to Family Sense. Family Sense is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage, especially in these toughest times. This is a production of No Regrets Communication, a division of Hope Education Network. Should you have any questions or need any information, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554. You can also contact us on 0754 734 738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. Right now, join in for insights from today's session. God bless you.
Economy runs around those three things. Any economy, anywhere, beginning with an individual, every individual. If you're going to run a good and healthy and sustainable personal economy, it begins with what you do and the rewards you get from what you do and how you manage the rewards you get. Just get to understand that. I'm trying to re-emphasize the story we are following. If you lose this understanding, then the other things we are dealing with will become confusing. And we are trying to avoid ourselves from being just pickers of ideas here and there. We should be able to follow the story and see how all these apparent ideas connect together. That is how a mind grows. And that's how any person truly grows. And please, if you don't know how you get rewarded in your work, you'll still work so hard and still fail. But you'll be a hard worker. And that's okay. But how do you get rewarded? How do you generate the rewards for the work that you are doing? From the work you are doing, how do you generate the resources? I mean, the rewards. And finally, even when you get rewarded, how do you manage the rewards? And sometimes any one of those not well done will cause your economy, your personal economy, to do what? To fail. You will always be in debt. You will always be wondering where to come from, where things will begin from, where will the next meal come from. Those are hard things to speak, especially if we are not sure of the next meal. It's tough talk, right? But it has to be. But that's where the real thing is. We are at the core of it. So we are following this story. And now we can't talk about getting rewards today. We can't even talk about managing the rewards. Those will be talked about another time, at the right time. It's not that they have been ignored. They will be talked about. And again, being organized is such that we have to deliver this lesson with order. Because everything must also be taught with what? Order. You know, we are used to a certain way that when you finish P1 work, you go to P2, you forget about the P2 work. You go to P2. After finishing P2, you go to P5, you forget about the things you did earlier on. You go to P7. When you finish primary school, don't tell me primary school. Those are kidsy things. You go to S1. But you don't realize the things laid down as a foundation there are the very things that will simplify for you university. But if you don't follow through the path, even when you ask educators how things connect between primary and secondary, they tend to become difficult. Okay? And that is how our lives have been patterned, unfortunately. And we have to undo it. We have to unlearn certain things. And this is where we are today. Get a picture? So, economy, please don't lose that. And you have it in your notes. Work is what we are talking about today. We are not talking about getting the rewards. We are not talking about managing the rewards. Otherwise, we shall be confusing things here. So, when we get to that economy, in economy, we are talking about what? Work once again. And this work is what we've talked about here. It must be what? Systematic. Orderly, organized. System of work is what we are talking about here. And in system of work, there are 4 components we are talking about. So you realize is that we expand something very basic so that you may clearly do what? Understand it. And in a system of work, you must arrange the what? The tasks. And 2, deploy your resources very well. And 3, deploy people very well. And 4th, give an account. Any organized work, any systematic work will always have those 4 things. You arrange the tasks very well, which we talked about up to some level last time. And then deploying what? Resources, which we talked about as lightly as we could at that point. And today we are dealing with deploying what? People. We are not going to talk about giving an account. No, deploying people. So this is where we are today. Recognize that in deploying people, you first of all, you recognize the need for suitable helpers, which we have already shown expressed so clearly. Identify people possessing the skills needed for the work. Then maintain God at the core of the work. And finally, set clear governance. And when we say governance, this is not academics here. These are very practical, down-to-earth issues. And so, we are dealing with each one of them as clearly as we can. And as clearly as we must. And so, we've seen what Mrs. Kayondo has done here. So well. The reason of repeating, it is not a lack of what to say, but to emphasize very important things in this matter. Because without emphasizing those critical matters, we are bound to miss these things. We are bound to waste up. We are bound to turn around in circles altogether. So if we initiate any business, we initiate any work, or we participate in any work, we shall always need someone. And that person, the most convenient way is to go within the family. But again, when you talk about family business in Uganda here, battles altogether. And people actually hate it. I don't want to work with family members. Why? It is mainly, most importantly, because of how we manage our families. It is a reflection of exactly how we manage our families. That's the real thing. That's what fails family business. It is because our families are actually disorganized. That's why we can't manage family business. And if we are in family sense, and we are talking about family business, we must talk about these things in a very practical way. I have been in a counseling room long enough to see how husbands and wives have been always fight over things and over properties. And today, they would rather actually have separate properties. And some are private. My wife should not know. You remember the other things. And sometimes my wife gets to places and say, hey, you didn't tell me about this. Say, yeah, I don't have to tell you everything. You understand? I'm not saying that's what I did. We find places and then they have names of things that Mwesigwa groceries. You didn't tell me about this. I said, yes, I don't have to tell you everything. but of course in a humorous way, right? Yeah, but I don't own those things. But most importantly, many people don't want the other to know. Hello? Hey, am I talking about things in this world? Because in the Mars where I live, those things happen. So family and how we fit. But we are talking about work in general, then you'll see how this thing fits. So identifying people to deploy in your work, extremely important. Avoid picking carelessly and randomly. If you are going to identify people to deploy in any work, stop it. And that's what we keep doing all the time and all the time. Proverbs chapter 26. Proverbs 26, what does it say? Verse 6 says, like cutting off one's feet or drinking violence is the sending of a message by a hand of a fool. Are you hearing what it is saying? Like cutting off what? One's legs is the sending of a message by the hand of a fool. Let's break this down a little more clearly. What do your legs do for you? They help you to do what? To walk. How do you walk? Do you walk like this? Is that how you walk? What do the legs help you to do? They help you to walk what? Forward. To walk what? Forward. That is what the legs do. They help you to move forward. In the sense of an enterprise and in the sense of a business, altogether, the legs help you to make progress. Now he's saying like cutting off one's feet, like curtailing progress, like stopping a business from moving forward, is doing what? Entrusting a fool to do a piece of work. Does that make sense to you? If you give work to be done by a fool, you are cutting off progress. That's what it means. Now, a fool is not necessarily used in the sense of being abusive to anyone here. A fool is one who has not understood what needs to be done. A fool is one who doesn't have the skill of doing something. That's a person called a fool. In the sense of that task, in the sense of that job. Now, if you give someone who doesn't know the work which needs to be done, and you hand over that job to be done, what's going to happen? It's going to be what? It's not going to shift. It will remain undone. And not just barely not being done, but also getting spoiled. And that's damage is the thing. And that's why he says like doing what? Cutting off one's what? Feet and drinking violence is the sending, is handing a task to someone who doesn't make sense of it, who can't do it, who doesn't have the character for it, who doesn't have the competence for it. That's what it means. And yes, what do we do in our families today? You're too busy, so you say, okay, now you see, I'm going to leave this child, this person here with my children. But you are also picking a little child to take care of little children. And that child doesn't know what to do. What results are you going to get? I'm getting down to even deploying a what? A housemaid.
Remember that you're engaged in a family sense gathering, which is dedicated to equipping every man, every woman, every husband, every wife with practical wisdom on family and marriage. I hope you're enjoying yourself.
I'm getting down to even deploying a what? A housemaid. We are always finding people who have now not been well mothered, not been well fathered, and we are handing over children whom we think they are so precious. And what is happening? What are you doing to those children? Those are tough things to talk about, right? You thought it was all about multinationals. It happens in the home in as much as it happens in a multinational company. Hello? And then you say our children are spoiled? So, avoid picking carelessly and randomly. That is advice number 1. Don't just deploy anyone. Don't even deploy yourself if you are a fool in your business. Yes! Just because you want to do something, it doesn't mean you are wise. It only means you want to do it. It doesn't mean you are wise for it. And if you find yourself that you are a fool, then what you do? Unfool yourself. Educate yourself on the thing that you are going to do. And how many of us have lost their businesses, their hard-earned money, their hard-earned savings, because they've put it in things they don't understand and they have lost it? Hello? Am I talking to anybody here? Is that exactly what we go through? So are you wise in your own business that you want to do, in your own work? Do you know exactly and understand the work you are doing? That's what we are talking about. Of course, I think now it gets personal, right? Yes. Let us talk one-on-one person here. Are there places where you have turned out to be a fool, but in your work? Yep. And that's why many people find it uncomfortable to invest. Inform yourself. Educate yourself in what you're going to do. Okay, another word to say is unfool yourself. Right? And if you find it too heavy for you to do, hire someone else. People fear. But the issue, I'm telling you, it is an inevitable thing. Don't deploy a what? A fool. And if you are a fool in that which you want to do, please don't deploy yourself. Better off you keep that money in the bank until you unfool yourself. Those are hard things to talk about. But they must be talked about. And don't intimidate me. Don't even intimidate me. I will speak about them very seriously and without blinking. Hello? Picking carelessly cuts off progress of the work. And picking carelessly and randomly destroys the work. And that's what we are seeing around our nation. So much. Don't just pick anybody. Don't just pick anybody, even if it is yourself. Don't pick yourself just because you are the starter of the business. Be humble enough to say, I am a fool in this. Hello? And I know we are running around and I have seen so many things. And you know, it takes courage to acknowledge I am inadequate. Yeah, but aren't I the owner? Yes, you are the owner, but you are a fool in what you own. And you might be the liability to your own business. Hello? Yes. And I have been sometimes in situations where I have had to tell that to business owners, and it is tough. Because if I don't tell a business owner that, and if truly he's the liability, I will tell him that. It is tough and not easy. Do you know how many names I've earned by saying such things? Very many. I say, well, I'm sorry, but that is it. If I don't do that, I'm a misadvisor. I'm participating in the failure of somebody. And I'm not being a good steward. Not sweet at all. In fact, I do a very hard work, personally. Very hard work. And I have to face people, and not easy, but I have to tell them. So sometimes, if at any one time God crosses our paths more closely, and I tell you are being a fool here, don't be surprised. My middle name is Inconvenience. My middle name is what? Inconvenience. I will inconvenience you. All together. So don't just pick anybody from the family. I mean it. Don't just pick your wife. I can't just pick Mrs. Mwesigwa. Hey, Mrs. Mwesigwa, this, just because she's part of me. And say, obviously, if I don't pick Mrs. Mwesigwa, who else? No, you ask her. She's there. We say, man, Mrs. Mwesigwa, in this case, in this one here, you are a fool. Hello? That is managing family God's way, by the way. Hello? Those are tough things to talk about. But actually, that is what we need as medicine for us even to stabilize our families. Because the closer someone is to you, the harder it is to deal with the real matters that you have to deal with. But we must mature and get to the level of being what? Being real, being honest. And that is the meaning of the principle which we talked about the other time. And they were what? Naked and unashamed. We talked about that in some session. Yeah, but now that is exactly what it is. If I find it uncomfortable to express a real matter and something which is a bit delicate, and then I'm not able to really express it to my wife, where we are involved in a work together, what is likely to happen? What is likely to happen if I don't address that matter? I will turn inside and begin to be a complainer about my what? My wife. So that is a better option? Are we talking family sense here now? Are we really at the core of things which really give issues in our families? And we don't want to talk about them. And especially if a woman talks about them, the man says, hey, who are you? Are we together? And how do I enter into my woman's things? They are hers. Then why are you family in the first place? You had better divorce each other if you can't stand up. I'm not, by the way, an advocate of divorce. I'm only saying let's deal with the matters practically and real. The closer something is to you, the harder it becomes. The harder it becomes to address a matter. So, don't just pick anybody from a family. 2, don't just pick anybody from outside of the family. And just because you don't pick anybody from the family, it doesn't mean you should pick anybody from outside of the family. No. I'm not saying that either. Like a nature, who wounds at random? Is he who hires a fool or any passerby? You know, nature is one actually who shoots birds, right? So he just shoots arrows all around. You will lose all your arrows before you shoot even a bird. So if you pick anyone you find on the street anywhere to do any task, any job, or if you find yourself, no, I can't do anything, I can't do anything. The moment somebody tells me I can't do anything, I tell him you are not fit for my work. He's not clear of where he fits. So if there is anyone in our midst here who is jobless, they had better first check their skill set. Our children, unemployed, wherever they are, please find what's the root cause. That's where we should begin from. Because I believe there are families here which are going to become serious employers. And there are families here which shall be composed of very good employees. Please, there is nothing wrong with being employed by someone else. In fact, it's very good. Altogether. It's very important for us to know whether employed or not employed, are you useful? Are you able to stand an economy in your side? Okay? So, we continue on this business of deploying people. Thirdly, the person you pick, we are saying don't pick any what? Randomly or carelessly. So now we are saying that any person you do what? You want to pick must possess the what? The skills needed for the work. That is the bottom line. Whether somebody is from outside of the family or someone is from the family, please, he must possess the what? The skills to do the work. Focus is, I have this work and the skills are here. Are you getting the picture? And what are skills? Even this word is skill. What is it? You have heard for yourself even here today a phenomenon which is so terrible today. And please, it's not about one having papers. I'm not talking about possessing papers, that I have a degree and I have a master's and a doctorate and even a professorship in something. I'm not talking about possessing papers. I'm telling you, I have found so many people who really have very nice papers, but they don't have the skills which the papers are talking about. Those are hard things to talk about. One has the papers, but he doesn't have the skills which the papers are talking about. And we are educating our children to go to university. What was the recent project Makerere University embarked upon? It embarked upon calling upon all its graduates so that they may skill them. So what are they saying? We gave you empty papers then? It's an entire project calling back its Makerere calling back its graduates. So what were you educating them? What else is government doing? Skills project. Graduates should come to the skills. Where is the best? In Nakawa. DIT here. So then what did people get? Today, many employers don't want to employ even graduates. And they are wondering, the jobs are too many. The people to do them are nowhere to be seen. Altogether. So when we say skills, we must also get down to specifics. What is a skill? Because if you are going to be an employer, or if you are employed somewhere, you must know yourself. If you are an employer somewhere, you must know exactly what you mean. Because we are not here for just an academic dispensation, to just to talk something, excite anybody here. These are matters of life. These are matters of a family. Must be alive, must be real, and must be dealt with, and most importantly, on the standard of the Lord and no other.
Family Sense is on a mission of teaching God's truth for reforming marriages and building families throughout the nation. Stability of our nation can only be realized with well-founded families and marriages. We therefore invite you to engage in Family Sense gatherings. Should you have any questions or need specific assistance, please feel free to contact us on 0772 518 554 or 0754 73 4738. You can also email us on noregrets@counselor.com. God bless you. We look forward to seeing you next time.